guys. I wanted to talk with you today about the January 6th hearings, this committee that is dedicated towards proving that Donald Trump coordinated these January 6th insurrections or riots. I prefer the term riots because there wasn't a clear chain of command, at least not anything that's been proven up until whatever is going on right now at the January 6th committee. So maybe they'll prove that it ran up the chain of command and then maybe it would be an insurrection. But as far as we know, as far as I know, it's not, there is no coordinated plan of effort to actually overthrow the government and reinstate Donald Trump undemocratically. So, I like to use the word riot, others like to use the word insurrection. I'm not offended by either term. But, so, I am here, I'm discussing, I wanted to discuss James Goldston. This James Goldston is a former president of NBC News, and he was in charge directly of Good Morning America and Nightline. So he has a history of working with dramatic news and crime type subject matters. So he's good at sensationalizing these stories, and he was selected, he was tapped for this position. He is a unannounced advisor for the January 6th committee in their efforts to better broadcast, better reach a larger audience of Americans, and make their congressional hearings, which are more suited for something like C-SPAN, and are watched by thousands of individuals, hundreds of individuals even, because, you know, and this thing is, you know, generally quite boring. To take a C-SPAN, ready content, or, you know, that kind of approach, and create it more for the nightly news. You know, this is going on prime time, 8 p.m. Started on Thursday, June 9th at 8 p.m. and it's been running prime time since. And it's unclear how long it will run as prime time, but through the month of June, this hearing will be continuing, and then they will do a final hearing on sometime in September, is what they say. So this James Goldston, he was hired specifically to approach the hearings as if it were a blockbuster investigative special and the makings of a national event. Those are his words: blockbuster investigative special and a national event. He was hired to sensationalize and better dramatize the events of January 6th. These events, which are largely, people have largely made up their minds, and most people are tired of talking about it, and I believe Trump was already impeached on it, at least from the House, and it did not materialize in the Senate. So what they hope to gain from this, I believe, is they want to use this as a weapon against the Republicans in the 2022 midterms, coming up not too far from now, only 5 months now. So, and to further cement the idea that Donald Trump and the Republicans were behind the January 6th, what they would call an insurrection, and that it was coordinated. If they can prove that it was coordinated from the top, and that there was a real plan of action all the way up to the White House, then yes, I guess it would be an insurrection, and Donald Trump would be facing much worse punishment and maybe even prison, and certainly not allowed to run for president again, although even I would still argue that that's undemocratic. Even if the president himself, Trump, is undemocratic, it would be undemocratic to not allow him to run for president if the American people would like him to be president, if he gets some 75 million votes as we've seen in 2020. So the hearings, so Goldston will be bringing storytelling drama to the hearings, and hearings are aiming to attract and inform both journalists and citizens who may not be aware of the 11-month investigation. So this committee has been active for 11 months, the last 11 months as they've been building evidence and finding more footage. So one of the big thrills is that they're going to be showing new footage that has not been seen before. I don't know what that will prove. I have yet to see this footage. I don't know if it's been made presented in the hearing yet itself. In my regard, I would imagine it has, because if this James Goldston is is a network news dramatist and sensationalist and director, he would likely he wouldn't bury the lead, and he wouldn't bury the most important drama. He would, the very first episode, because this is coming out like as episodes, nightly primetime episodes of this hearing, he would throw something out right away to get people's attention, because he must realize that people's attention will wane if not attracted immediately. So, but yes, he is. So these January 6th hearings are not they're not even the first event like this that has been broadcasted nationally and dramatized, consultants have been hired for this kind of position in the past. There was and these kind of hearings do happen. There's a history of them, such as the Army McCarthy hearings of 1954 between Joseph McCarthy and his accusations against the Army as alleged communists. There's the Watergate hearings. I shouldn't have to say more about that. The Iran-Contra hearings, and what's his name? I can't think of the general guy. Anyway, so the Iran-Contra hearings were a big deal as well. That was in 1987. So every 10 or 15 years they do one of these. It's been a little while since we've had a real dramatized court event like this. But I hesitate to. I wonder what can really be learned from this. And they call witnesses. So they're calling witnesses. They're claiming to have new footage, even though everybody's already been overexposed to this footage. But it has clear political motives, and it's clear that this Liz Cheney doesn't care what kind of damage she does to the Republican Party. It's clear that the Republican Party is able to do plenty of damage to themselves, with or without Liz Cheney, that Trump and the Republican Party can do plenty to damage their own party and its reputation. That's clear. But Liz Cheney is probably, I mean, who knows if she's got an uphill battle herself just to win her Wyoming Senate seat back, to hold on to that in November, because Trump has pushed hard against her and has campaigned in Wyoming, making it his number one priority of the 2022 midterms to get Liz Cheney out of office. And because of this and her lead role in this committee, she's become a very, very big target for the former president, and it's likely that she's got an uphill battle in November. So it's clear that the way that the timing works out for this hearing, as well as the hiring of this James Goldston and his career as a dramatist for network news, and it's just clear that Liz Cheney, her role in this, as her candidacy for her Senate seat is going to be tougher and tougher to hold, and Trump has made a really strong effort. He'll probably be back in Wyoming. I wouldn't be surprised to see him back there. He was just in Wyoming, but he'll probably go back. She's going to have a tough time holding on to her Senate seat. But this is, and this kind of event is not unprecedented. There have been hearings like this in the past, but one thing that is unprecedented is the level of fracturing in the news media, and the fact that in the previous hearings like this all existed in an era where a phone was something that was attached to a wall and had a cord and didn't do anything but place phone calls. And even before even answering machines were really that popular, before caller ID even. So what's different? What's changed? This kind of event being nationally publicized in this way is not is not unprecedented. But what is unprecedented is the rapid change in technology and how different our society is now because of the smartphones and because of the internet at large and because of social media. So, and what I also would argue is that this is going to cater more towards a older audience, people in their 50s and above, I would say, because younger people are less likely to be tuning into network news, are less likely to be watching cable at all. Many of us have cut cable out entirely. It's going to be your older audience who have not done their due diligence to find alternative sources of media and are not part of the fragmenting culture of media itself. So the young people are not going to be seeing this. I would be shocked to. I mean, it's just not designed. It's just not designed for young people, and it seems a little out of touch if they're trying to reach young people with this message. So it's going to be an older audience, a more establishment audience that is not really a Bernie. We're not talking about Bernie Democrats or Trump Republicans. We're talking about your more in the middle, your Clinton or your Bush Democrats or Republicans here. So it's clearly not designed for a young audience, but we'll see if it has any impact as the Democrats struggle to gain their footing for a midterm message. Thank you.